Allah, dear friends. Um, I have a very good news, and that is that tonight is our last story. I will have three more stories in Persian program, which because the Persian program started later than English. Anyhow, this tonight I'm going to mention different stories that I had noted to tell you in my previous talks, but because of either the time or whatever, we did not have time for it. As the project was going on in Haifa, we had some periods that was very difficult from every point of view, from every direction. We had the stress and pressure, and we didn't know what to do. In particular, a major problem was to either buy the properties or to buy back the key money tenant that they were in our own properties or on the Baha'i properties on Mount Carmel. They were there, and sometimes it was very difficult to let them go, because you know that key money is something that now I don't believe in United States and West we have it, but in many countries still exist, and that's the fact that somebody rent a house with its key. That means he or she will be able to stay there till end of his life or her life, and there is no way that you can force him to leave as per law. So we had to convince them, and we had to buy their key, their right, so that, and knowing that this is a critical issue for us, they would try to make our life as difficult as possible. We had a Baha'i World Center, had a lawyer, a very distinguished Israeli gentleman, that has been for many years had been lawyer of the Baha'i World Center, and was quite trusty and trusted by all of his performance in the past. He was a very wise man. I'm not sure if he's still working, either he's alive or he's retired, I don't know. But he was a very distinguished man, wonderful man, wise man, and very dedicated man, very honest, and very really straightforward, and always on the side of the law. And he knew that the Baha'i World Center does not want to have any really difficulty with law or with government or with all of the regulations of the city. Baha'is from the time of Baha'u'llah have been very law-abiding people in Israel, and before that in Palestine. And as you know, you have heard the story of the passing of beloved master, and you know what kind of dignitaries from all the religions, from all the communities, from all the tribes in Holy Land, they participated, and everybody in the city was crying, was sad, and as if they have lost their father. So from the time of Abdul Baha, before that, from the time of all of these years that the Baha'i faith has been in this part of the world, in the Holy Land, Baha'is, they have had very friendly and really a very close relation with all of the minorities, majorities, all. In fact, I had seen several posters that in city of Haifa they had hanged on the wall that it said coexistence, that how people can live together with friendship and with brotherhood. And the picture of the shrine of the Bab was on the poster. That really Baha'is in this land have had such kind of relation with Palestinians, with Druze, with Jews, with Christians, with Muslims, with all. So Mr. Schneier was a very really a distinguished and reliable lawyer. And I often consulted with him and shared my difficulties and respected his advice. I remember one day I was talking to him about our difficulties and the problems and what we should do and all of that. He told me something that I liked it very much, and I have always repeated it to my children and to my friends and all. It's very nice. He said, you know, Mr. Saba, your life is like a person that grabs a cactus fruit. It's full of thorns, full of thorns, you know, very fine thorns. If by mistake you touch it, hundreds and hundreds of these very, very, sometimes even invisible thorns goes to your hand. He said, you know, we say that if such a thing happens, what you will do? You can shout, you can cry, you can blame people, you can do whatever you want. But it's going to burn, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse. The only way that you can solve your problem is to get a tweezer, sit very quiet with maximum concentration, and take these thorns out of your hand one by one. And every one that you take it out, you say, oh my God, it's much better now, I feel better. And this way, you feel relaxed. There is no other way for you. You have really done that. You have grabbed a fruit of cactus, and now that is what you have to do. So I learned that advice very much, and I often used it, and I realized that really this is true. Imagine what you will do. You have to try to solve your problem. Every thorn that comes out, you have solved one of 1,000 problems, two of 1,000 problems, three of 1,000 problems. And it's some direction is better than nothing. Anyhow, one of the issues that we had, I was talking to Mr. Schneier, there was one of these, you know, because everybody in the area knew that we need, because the development is coming down and we are building coming down. And no doubt, we are very keen to finish our project. Everybody knows, see that, oh, very soon they have another 1 year, they have another 2 years, they have to finish. And if I'm sitting on their land, on this land, they are going to come offer me more and more and more money. So more I resist, better it is. And of course, we had a very clear direction from the Universal House of Justice that we should be always fair and just to ourselves and to others. We are not going to be blackmailed or ripped off just because we need something, because these are projects of God, and God is patient. Anyhow, now there was one family, one of the Arab families on the area, in our land, in our property. They were Kimani. And they had a lawyer that Mr. Schneier told me he has very bad reputation. He's very tough. And even if the owner wanted to do a compromise, he would tell them, no, don't do that, wait. They will come up, they will go up, they will go up. So every week I had a consultation with Mr. Schnee. I would go to his office or he would come to my office and we would sit and discuss about this point. And every week I told him about this issue, what we are going to do. And he said, there is nothing you can do. We have to wait. This fellow should come. Eventually I said, Mr. Schnee, this is not going to work. You have to. So I have a suggestion. Let me go and talk to this lawyer and tell him about our projects and tell him about how this money comes. Money comes from where? Don't misunderstand, because some people at that time, would think that Baha'is are rich, and they are, at the same time, they are very simple-minded. Because, most of Baha'is that they come there are foreigners. They come from, United States, from West European countries. They come from all over the world. And they are very, always serving for the Universal House of Justice. They are very polite. They are very peaceful. They are very respectful. They speak very gently and they never argue. So they think that, and at the same time, they see all of these beautiful gardens. They see these beautiful buildings. They think, okay, Baha'is, they should be rich. They have lots of money, and all of them are very naive. We can easily get some money out of them. So I had said that several times to the people that I dealt with in Israel. I told them that I have one task. I have to prove to you that, first of all, we are not rich. Second, we are not naive and idiots. We are not. This is my task to establish before we finish our project. Now, I told Mr. Schnee that I can go and meet this man. I will talk to him, not as a lawyer, as a Baha'i, just while talking. He said, no, Mr. Saba, you're wasting your time. I'm dealing with him, he's legal. Anyhow, after sometimes it didn't work. So I told Mr. Schnee that, Mr. Schnee, yeah, I'm going to talk to him, whatever. So I called this lawyer. He was very cold and very unfriendly. And he said, well, I said, I want to meet you. Is it possible we talk? He said, okay, I'll give you some date. And try to sound very reluctant and very uninterested. Anyhow, he came. I asked him to come to my office. He came and we sat and we discussed. I'm not sure. Maybe I went to his office. I'm not sure. Sorry. Anyhow, we sat and we discussed. I told him that, I want you to know who are the Baha'is. Then I told him about all of these stories that I knew. I told him how Baha'is of some countries have suffered, how much they sacrificed. Baha'is of all over the world, how they sacrifice, how they donate money. I showed him some documents, some papers, some contribution that he had received. I said, look, these are the money that comes to us. Somebody is dying, he has given his will to us. We have someone, I told him, we had a friend in one of the Arabian countries that sold his house, his only house, and contributed to the projects. I said, look, these are the things. And I told him about my own life, about my own childhood. I said, look, if you think I have come here just as a rich man, that all of these things, you are wrong. We have come because we love this shrine. We love, we want to show our dedication to these holy places. That is what we are doing. And all of that. And I told him that, you can try hard and twist our arms and all of that. But what do you think? Do you think the money that comes out of the hand of all of these people with all of that sacrifice will be a real money that your client will enjoy by blackmailing us, by sitting on our property. He has been there for 50 years. Now we need it. If you are offering a good price to you, reasonable price, this is a reasonable price. You cannot demand something unreasonable. We cannot do that. We cannot give it. And even if we give, even if I give, do you think that the children of this gentleman are going to enjoy this money? He is going to enjoy this money. Just I want you to think about it. He listened to me and he said, Mr. Sabah, I am very, very sorry. Please accept my apologies. I really did not know these things. Unbelievable. I told, whatever I told Mr. Schneier that, he said, forget about it. He's not that type of man. He's a real shrewd lawyer that does not know anything other than money. He will not accept. But to my shocking surprise, these documents that I showed, the fact that these people, and he was an Arab, he was not, he said, all of us, he saw that, and he said that, I'm very sorry. I am going to work on this very seriously and talk to my client and convince him that he should do this. Just in few months, the owner came to an agreement with us and sold the key. Property was ours, and then we could complete that. This was just one event that I wanted to share with you. Another issue, another story that I want to tell you is that I had read in several books, including a book of Mr. William Sears, and that he said that we have brought, because at the time that we were in, I was in Haifa and in India, that was the period that the House of the Bab was destroyed, and all of those sad events happened, which really broke the heart of all the Baha'is of the world. And in my opinion, a great blessing was taken from the people of this world. The House of the Bab were one place that was a place of pilgrimage, the most holy place. Two places we have only for real pilgrimage, for Hajj, and that was one of it. And they destroyed it. And really what they did was that they destroyed the greatest gift of God that was the sign of his manifestation on earth. They destroyed. I had wonderful memories of the House of the Bab in Shiraz. I had visited that house several times with my family, with my friends. We went there. I went as a student even. It was such a magnificent place, such a place that would bring joy and happiness to your heart. That was one place that I always felt that my prayers are listened. It's unbelievable. It's just every time I went there and I said a prayer, somehow at the bottom of my heart, I felt that my prayer was heard. And and I love that tree, orange tree that was in that garden. It was so beautiful. It was so small, so beautiful. And the house, the courtyard was very small. And that corner, it was that well with that well that you could pull the water from the Bab himself had brought water up and water that that orange tree. And I love that tree. And all of us, all of the Persians, they had a small orange of that tree in their homes. And we had, my mother had, and we loved it every time. We looked at that and we loved it. So when the orange tree was destroyed, I thought, and I was told that there is nothing. Then I was reading in the Baha'i books, and I saw that Mr. William Sears writes that we have brought so many of the orange of Shiraz, the seed of the orange of Shiraz, to Mount Carmel, and we have planted around the shrine, that everywhere you have these oranges. I asked from my dear friend, Mr. Nakhjavani, that has been the oldest Baha'i that I knew, that had been in Holy Land from his childhood. I said, Mr. Nakhjavani, do you know which one of these trees is from the house of the Bab, from that tree? He said, not really. I said, so what is the use of it? If there are so many trees, but we don't know which one, it's not good. We need a tree that we are sure that this is the child of that tree. And I made this a goal for myself. I said, I have to find it. I started looking around and consulted, and I communicated with Afnan family in London, Janab Abul Qasim Afnan, Janab Hassan Afnan, all of these Afnans that they were there. And I consulted with them and I asked with them, and they sent me, and I, by the way, the citrus trees are very restricted in Israel and all of that. So it should be done very scientifically and under quarantine and all of that. In any case, with lots of challenges and difficulties, eventually I found one cutting of a tree from the Shiraz, from Afnan family. And we found, I found oranges of that tree from the National Assembly of Brazil and National Assembly of Pakistan, that they had, all members of the assembly together, they had witnessed, and they had said that this is the orange of the Shiraz. All of them had been present when that gift was given to them. I obtained all of those, the seeds and all of that, and we, with the help of some very distinguished horticulturists of Israel, that they were quite knowledgeable people, and they knew how to deal with this matter scientifically and properly. We grew about 30 small plants of the orange tree of Shiraz. All of them, the best ones then were chosen, and we planted them in a specific courtyard in the terrace of the shrine of the Bab, so that the gardeners, and they are marked, we knew all of that. And then we chose two of them, the most beautiful one, two of them we chose, and we put it on the terrace of terrace number 9. Immediately below the staircase, as you come down from the shrine, these two trees are children of the orange tree of Shiraz. And official document of that has been presented to archive, signed by the all of the people that they have witnessed, and the House of Justice has confirmed, and then they were planted here as very small. They started from this size, and then they grow, and now they are complete mature trees. You can see them. They are beautiful both, and they're full of oranges already, full of oranges. These two are real the representative of that shrine and of that orange, and it's put here. And then several of the others, that 30 plants that we have, are planted somewhere behind these trees here on that terrace, which is for backup, just in case one of these trees get they die or whatever happens for disease, but they are constantly checked, examined, and they are completely healthy and happy. I informed this when the day that we planted those trees. I wrote a note to Amatul Bahar Ruhiya Khanum to make her happy, and I said that. And dear Khanum wrote this letter back to me, and you can see the signature of Khanum right under it. Back, Ruhiya. She wrote, "Dear Faribors, thank you." This is on 14th July 1998. Dear Faribors, thank you for writing me your letter of July 7th, informing me that 2 of the seedling propagated from the original orange tree planted by the Bab in the courtyard of his house in Shiraz, having reached the appropriate height and strength, were planted on July 5th, 1998 on terrace number 9 and are now growing in front of the shrine of the Bab. What could be more, one might say, romantic in the true sense of the word than this? What might be romantic in the true sense of the word than this? This is just the sort of things that should happen. So this was a wonderful thing. And then, so whenever I go to Haifa, I make sure that I go and see those 2 trees. They are really, I thought the day that I planted there, those trees, I thought that shrine is more happy because really it's now the tree that His Holiness the Bab planted with his own hand is now back to his house. Anyhow, now my next story is about I tell you some of the stories about the people that they were there with us, the workers, and all of that, and their experience. Here is a man called Nufi Shayesh. Nufi is an Arab Israeli, and generation by generation he has worked on a stone. His father worked for Mr. Maxwell and for the area of the shrine, and he even remembered Mr. Maxwell. And one thing he always remembered was that Mr. Maxwell was very particular and very on time. Absolutely, if you would fix a meeting at 5 o'clock, if you would have gone 5:02, he would refuse to meet you. So he told me that story. And then now he was working for me. He was helping me in the shrine. And then all of these balustrades that we had done, he supplied the stone first of all to me. All of the stone that I bought from Palestine, it's by him. It has come. Not from they are from the Galilee area, but they are all the Arab areas. All of his workers were Arabs, wonderful people. And then he, of course, they are all Nufi, and his family and all are Christian. Once he had supplied stones and all of that, and for I would go every time I would go to his factory, like you can see here, and I would inspect all of the things that he had done and make sure that there are good stone and all of that. There was a period that I went somewhere for maybe 1 week or 10 days. I was traveling. When I came back, I noticed that one of the stone pillars that they have installed, Nufi himself, his workers have installed, had a very, very fine crack. And I didn't, normally I would reject all of those things and they had to change it. So when I saw him a few days later, he came to my office. He came to my office and sat and we were talking. I told him, Nufi, I was very disappointed. I always trusted you. I knew that you are so careful. You are so meticulous and responsible. Why you let this stone to be installed? Now we have to remove it and damage it and bring it out and all of that. He said, which one? I said, this. He went and saw it and he went back and said, oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Sahba, believe me, it has lost my attention, this and that. Then he went, closed the door of my office and came back. He said, Mr. Sahba. And he spoke, he would say, Mr. Sahba. He said, do you think I don't know where we are working? Do you think I don't know how important is our work? He said, just as we have started this work, I had a dream. That night I told that dream to my wife. I had a dream that Abbas Afandi is standing in front of the shrine. And I was passing. He called me. He said, Nufi, what you are doing is very, very important. Take care of it. And he gave me a key. He said he had a key in his hand, as if the key of the shrine. He gave it to me and he said, take care of it. Then he said, with really broken voice, he said, Mr. Sahba, I will give my life for this building. It was so touching. There was another Arab worker, Arab contractor, he was a Muslim, called Naji Amer. He was working at the beginning we were doing some wall work and some other works. He would come whenever I needed some smaller masonry work, he would come and work. Naji Amer. He has passed away, unfortunately. Then one day, you know, at the beginning, because we wanted to remove all the trees below the shrine of the Bab, all of the trees of that garden, we wanted to remove. And everything would have been destroyed and would have been re-leveled and would have been reconstructed. So I asked gardeners not to deal with the garden down below the shrine of the Bab at the moment. Just leave it, because it's waste of your time. We are going to demolish it. And we had blocked it. Nobody could go in anymore. It was closed. Till the time that we were supposed in a couple of months to start removing those the useful trees. We would relocate them to another place, and then the bushes and all of those things would have been removed when you are doing the earthwork. One day, Naji Amar came to my room. He said, Mr. Sahba, you are not a good Baha'i. I said, Naji, why? What happened? He said, no, you are not a good Baha'i. I said, why? He said, you know, when I was child, every day I would come to this garden and I would follow Shoghi Effendi, because he was going to the garden, to the terraces and looked at the trees and all of that. I would follow him. With my brother and some of our friends, we would follow him. And sometimes he would give us some coins and all of that. He said he was so careful. He would not allow one weed in that garden. Why you have left the garden like that? You are not a good Baha'i. I told him, Naji, sorry, I'm so sorry. You are right. Of course, beloved Shoghi Effendi was very, very different from us. But we are not doing it because we are going to very soon, 2 months from now, we are going to remove all of those things. So it's waste of time to spend right now and remove all of the weeds that are going to be, all of them are going to go. This was another story, interesting at that time. Now, and during the construction time, we had the honor that Amatul Bahar Ruhiya Khanum would often visit the buildings of the Ark. This is the Center of Study of the Text, and would visit the terraces and all of that. And with tremendous interest, she would look around. And of course, I'm talking at about time that she was still healthy and not toward the end of her life. That was very difficult, and she was a bit fragile. So she would come and look at it, and often told me that I am supervising your construction from the window of my bedroom. Every day, I said, I have a binoculars and I look everywhere, I see what is happening. He said, Shoghi Effendi did that. He would watch from there, would do what is happening. He would come and showed everything, and she was so really such an honor to guide her around in that time. I had so many wonderful memories from Khanum, but really that is a different story. I will say a few to you. I mean, in one occasion that I was sitting with Khanum, and very leisurely we were talking in a holiday. We were in outside the city, and we were sitting. I was talking about once I mentioned, Khanum always would ask me, tell me about what is the progress of the work and this and that. And I told her, Khanum, I'm very worried. I'm very worried. She said, why? I said, because we are reaching toward the end of construction, and I need at least 1 full year for construction of the plaza and the lower terraces, the terrace number 1 and the plaza. I need that time. And right now there is one more building that belongs to an Israeli Arab that we had not bought it. And we cannot buy it because this fellow had said over my dead body in a newspaper interview, he had said over my dead body, I will sell this property to the Baha'is, whatever his reason. Now, we were, and Khanum said, this is very serious, what you want to do? I said, I don't know. The terraces are going to be ready for inauguration, but I need this house to be empty in a couple of months. We have to do that. And I had 2 of very distinguished, wonderful Baha'i friend of mine. First, Mr. Hushmand Muttahide, as he's now in Spain, and for a few years he was there, and he was helping me with properties. He would buy properties on Ark and on terraces. Would go and discuss and negotiate. He was very good in property. He was doing that. And later on, when he left, a very wonderful Baha'i from United States, from Las Vegas, Mr. Kamran Sahihi came. Unfortunately, Mr. Sahihi passed away about a couple of years ago. He was a wonderful, really servant of Baha'u'llah, very dedicated, very hard worker, and great sacrifice. He would come, he left his wonderful house and life and everything. He came and he was living in a very simple life condition with his wife, and they were there, and he was helping me with these properties. He was working. Now, Khanum told me that from tonight, every night I am going to say a special prayer for this problem to be solved. This is what she told me. About 1.5 months later, we bought the house. The story is very complicated, and I don't want to talk about it for several reasons. But we bought the house and we demolished. This is Kamran Sahihi, my dear brother. We were the only 2 that could be there at that time, because House of Justice had, as per my own request, had instructed none of the Baha'is to come nearby in these areas because we were demolishing all of these things and all of that. It was very historical day. I wish I could have told you, I could have told all of the detail of that story, but it's a bit, it's not wise perhaps to do so. But that was done, and the prayer of Amatul Baha Ruhi Khanum helped us that that problem was solved. Of course, it had taken 5 years to reach to that point, but that last steps was the most difficult one, that they were not, because we had bought almost half of the property, and the remaining half was stuck with that gentleman that I told you, and eventually we did that. And that day that you see here was one of our best days of our life, that we could see now the terraces are going to be completed on time. Now I want to tell you a story of the last time Amatul Baha Ruhi Khanum came to the shrine, to the terraces. It just a few months before she passed away. And after that, we never saw her outside. She was mostly at home. That day we had a lunch at Mr. Fatah Azam's house. Amatul Baha Ruhi Khanum was present, and Mr. Nakhjavani, Mrs. Nakhjavani, and some other friends, they were there. And Khanum was somehow very tired and exhausted that day. Of course, you know that toward the end of her life, she was in her 90s. She was tired, but Khanum was a very, very strong, she had a very strong health, very strong will, and she was really extraordinary lady, and no comparison with others. But that day she was not well, and she was not at all in a good health. Mr. Fatah Azam, because I was the only one who would dare to bargain with Khanum. When she would say no, I would have bargained. So Mr. Fatah Azam told me, Fariboz, go and bargain with Khanum. Take her to the terraces, make her happy, because she is not well. She is not in a good, really spirit right now. I suggested, Khanum, it's such a wonderful day right now, and the terraces, I will take you with car. I have a special road. I take you inside the terraces, up the shrine, and then you will really enjoy it. You will like it. It's nice. Khanum said, no, I'm not happy. I don't have energy. I cannot go. And again, I said, Khanum, believe me, I assure you, you will not be, please, for this. I mean, I really want to show you something. And again and again and again, finally, poor Khanum resigned and gave up to my bargaining. And she said, okay, I come, but but she said, I will not come out of the car. I will look. I told her, Khanum, you just sit in the car. We go on the way to your house that I'm going to drop you there. So on the way, I take you to the gardens, and I show you, and you will just watch and enjoy, and it's nice. And then you go home. She said, okay, I come, but I'm not going to go out of the car. I said, of course, you don't go. Mrs. Nakhjavani and my wife also accompanied us. They were in the car, and Khanum said, we took her to the terraces. I took her from that there is a camp. There was a military camp that it was vacated, and that piece of land was the Baha'i property. So we had demolished the camp, and we were developing to the garden. We could go from the camp inside the garden, and we went. We did that, and we went to the shrine. Here, the camp was somewhere here, and from here we could go with car. We could go to this platform, and from here we could watch. We could see. It's a very nice view from here. We could see arc projects, and we could see all the terraces. We could see the shrine of the Bab. We came there, and Khanum was sitting in the car. Mrs. Nakhjavani and my wife came out of the car. The minute they came out of the car, Khanum said, okay, I also come out, but I just go up to, I will just see. Then she came out and I was holding her hand and helping. She came and she stood in the balcony and watched the view. Now terraces were almost completed. This is toward, I said, Khanum passed away in year 2000. And this building was also, the terraces were inaugurated in year 2000. So in just 3 months later, the garden. So the gardens were at that time quite advanced. Everything was done, all of that. And Khanum came in and saw this. And my God, she got so excited because for the first time, she could see everything finished, all of that. And then Khanum was so moved. She said, oh my God, this is what Shoghi Effendi was explaining to us and we couldn't understand it. This is exactly his vision. This is exactly his dream. Then she said, Shoghi Effendi today is very happy. She's watching it. She's so happy and all of that. And she was so excited and changed completely. Then we put her back in the car and help her to go in the car. And we went to the master house. And Mrs. Nakhjavani accompanied her to the house. And she went. And that tomorrow morning, Mrs. Nakhjavani called me, said, Fariborz, I had never seen Khanum like this. Up to 3 o'clock in the morning, she spoke about this vision of beloved guardian and the fact that she said he would tell us all of these things and we couldn't understand. And now I understand. Now I see everything, all of the things that she would say, center of universe, the shrine of the Bab, buildings of the Ark, tablet of Carmel, the path of the kings, and all of that I understand. And she said that she was so excited that I had to stay with her till, and she said that I had never seen her in that spirit. And that was so nice that I never forget that. I want to show you as during the these years that I was involved in construction of the Ark and the terraces and all of that. I had several rewards that I received. I was asked either by Amatul Bahar Ruhi Khanum or by the House of Justice to do several extra things that was not in my term of service. And I feel so honored that I have been able to do that. One of them, a very important one, is the entrance to the Bahji, the Shrine of Baha'u'llah area, the courtyard entrance, that's what you see here right now, and a building for pilgrims and for visitors that they come, a visitor center, so that non-Baha'is that they come, they learn about the Baha'i faith and they see the history of the faith and all of that. And that building that I said, the information center, is this block here. And rest of that is pilgrim facilities here. All of the pilgrims, they come, they can sit here, they can have tea, coffee, they can rest, enjoy, and then wash and have ablution if they want, and then go to the shrine. And this is the gate that from the top of this gate is the only place that you can see Shrine of the Bab and Shrine of Baha'u'llah, both in front of you. Shrine of Baha'u'llah first, Shrine of the Bab behind it. If the sky is very clear, in clear day, you could see that. So because of that, that platform is very important, and I bring the people from under that arch so that suddenly you come to this arch. If you go up, you can see from this balcony, you can see what I told you, and then from here. And I have created all of these aqueduct arch buildings, arches that you see here all over. you see these arches, you can see these arches, they're all with Ficus benjamina trees. These are trees. They are trimmed that way. From this balcony, you can see this is the shrine of Baha'u'llah, and then behind that, you can see the shrine of the Bab, especially in the evenings. This building is very, I tried very hard to, that they be very in the nature of the buildings of the mansion and the shrine of Baha'u'llah, and at the same time very humble but very graceful. When you go inside, it's really beautiful with lights. The light is so spiritual. Mr. Furutan told me that I have a feeling in this building that I only had that feeling in Moscow, the palace in Moscow, the royal palace. This is where it's a courtyard with tree at the middle and light and skylight and a patio, and the pilgrims, they can sit and have tea and coffee, and they enjoy a small Japanese garden. And from the windows you see outside beautiful gardens and all of that. And this building was built in 6 months toward end of when I wanted to leave Haifa. Before that, I finished this building. And the members of the house, they came to for its visit. Here you see, unfortunately, many of the members of the house here have passed away. Mr. Douglas Martin is, of course, alive. Mr. Barnes is alive, and Mr. Arbab and Mr. Dunbar. Rest of the members of the house have passed away. And they were very happy that day. Another reward that I had was that, I had tremendous love and respect for Amatul Baha Ruhiya Khanum, like all of you, like everyone. Amatul Baha had really showered me with blessing and love and support every possible way. I remember one day I was in Bahji and I was just behind the shrine of Baha'u'llah. I was saying prayer next to the window. And then I saw that Amatul Baha Ruhiya Khanum came. I never went forward unless Amatul Baha would give a signal or would sign that I go, or she would come to me, because I knew that she doesn't like to be interrupted in her visits and programs. I was standing there. Khanum came straight toward me. I just paid respect and waited. Khanum came to me and said, Fariborz, go to the shrine of Baha'u'llah, bang your head to the threshold of Baha'u'llah and say, I do not want anything more. He said, Baha'u'llah has given you enough blessing. Don't ask for anything more. And then she left. So, but anyhow, when Khanum passed away, unfortunately, few months, just 2 months before we inaugurate the terraces. And there was another department that was in charge of the funeral arrangements and all of that. And I did not know anything about what's happening and all of that. Only we knew that on that one of those weekends there was funeral. It was on Sunday. There was a funeral, and so I was waiting. I was at, but constantly since we had the news of passing of Khanum, everybody was thinking about it. Everybody was moved, and it was constantly in my mind that I should have done something for the shrine of Khanum. I should have served something. I should have done something. This is a great loss for all of us, but I should pay my respect. What should I do? And all of that. Anyhow, I could not. That day, one day is Friday, that is Shabbat. I went to I said, let me go and poke my nose and see what they are doing. This was the garden right in front of the master's house that Khanum, House of Justice, had decided to bury Khanum in that garden. And it was raining that day, and the day before that, it was raining very seriously. So I was concerned. I said, maybe they need some help, I went there, and then I saw the situation. I said, oh my God, look at that. The mud in the area, because the gardeners had tried to excavate the grave with the help of a bobcat and a small bobcat, and the heavy rain and the mud, the soil there is all clay. So the whole thing had become like a dough. You know that for bread they make dough. It was so that you push one side, the other side would come up. It was like that. My God, at least half a meter of mud is just like this. And these workers are working in this terrible condition. And my God, I thought to myself, well, how they're going to do it? This is going to be finished today. Today is Friday. Shabbat at 3 o'clock afternoon, you have to close it down. You cannot work. Tomorrow is Saturday, is Shabbat. And you have to do flour, you have to do all of those things. And Saturday, all of the people, many people that they have come from all over the world are going to come and stand on this mud. They will sink in. What you can do? Anyhow, I decided to share my opinion with the House of Justice and say, what, this is not going to work. I called Mr. Nakhjavani. And I said, Mr. Nakhjavani, this is the situation. I was in that garden right now, and in my opinion, there is a serious trouble. People will not be able to work in this garden unless something dramatic has done. Mr. Nakhjavani said, wait there, I will come there. I waited, and Mr. Nakhjavani came. Mr. Nakhjavani came. I said, oh my God, what we are going to do? This is bad. It's so bad what we are going to do. Because there is, the gardeners and most of these volunteers and people that they were doing, they were not, they had never been involved in that kind of construction. So it was earthwork and all of that. I said, Mr. Nakhjavani said that, what should I have to go and ask members of the House of Justice to do something about it immediately. So all 9 members of the House of Justice, they came to the master's house, that is just opposite of this place. And they look at that. This is the bobcat. The bobcat, it says it is stuck in the garden, stuck in the soil. What do you want to do with this? And it's raining. It's raining. 5 minutes would stop, so these people would do something, and rain starts. So all members of the House, they came and they looked at that, and they said, they called me in and they said that, what you suggest, what we can do? I said, please if you allow me to do this, I will find the solution. And immediately, House of Justice said, yes, you are responsible, do it. It's very tricky, very big thing, but I said, whatever happens, we should do it. There is no other way. We had, I called, first of all, I called 4 or 5 of my team, my engineers and my workers, that's senior serious supervisors, and to immediately, all of them, to leave your job and come here. They came. They all rushed here, they came. I said, the only way we cannot remove this mud, we cannot change it. This is there. The only thing we can do is to cover it with something. So we had tremendous amount of plywoods that we had used as formwork, and we have removed it, and we cannot use it anymore. We had in our storage. We had it. Eventually, either we would sold it to for second-hand fellow that they buy it and all of that. I asked them to bring all of those plywoods to this place, all of them. I decided that its best thing is that we cover this mud, all of this mud, with plywood. Because when you have a big plywood on that mud, it will stay. But we cannot ask all of these VIPs and dignitaries and members of the assemblies and of the cause and all of them to come and stand on the plywood. We have to cover that plywood. I said, we will cover that with 15 centimeter of gravel, of broken aggregate, broken rock. But how we get it? We calculated we need 15 trucks of gravel. How we get it? All side of this cemetery are roads. The roads that is heavy traffic, constantly cars, they go and come, especially in certain hours when schools ends, and toward the end of the day, it's one line of traffic it comes. This is Haparsim Street. We come there. So the traffic is there. So we cannot block the traffic. What you want to do? I said, I called first, and now it's Friday, how to get 15 trucks of gravel. I called our concrete supplier, and the concrete supplier, and I said that, how many cubic meters of gravel so far I have bought from you? This is an Israeli supplier. He said, well, few thousand, maybe 5,000, maybe 10,000. I said, look, I need 15 more. But you have to deliver it today. Forget about any other problem. Don't tell me it's Shabbat. Don't tell me it's anything. I need 15 trucks of gravel now. Bring it. If you want to work with me, that's it. You have to bring it. He said, of course. You have been such a good client. I will do it. I said, now where we do it? Where we put it? I said, drop it on the road. Right on the road. The road will be blocked. This is important. This is Amatul Baharu Yekhanum. I cannot do anything. The trucks came, dropped it on the road. And people, they thought that, and we put some guides to redirect them to another road. They thought that there is an accident or something. A truck has collapsed here. So we blocked the road, and we put the plywoods, and we covered it with this gravel. Look at that now. Started, all below that is plywood. You can see even the plywoods. This man is walking on plywood. Do you see? He's walking on plywood. This is all. This plywood stabilized the mud. But I told House of Justice that we are going to have the burial. But then people, we make this, I will make it to look exactly like a finished garden. On all of this, it reminded me of when Shah of Iran would go to some streets, they would build special roads, and they would put plants all along the road, and next day they would remove it. So I said, we are going to do that. We are going to have everything to look nice. People will come, enjoy it, will see it, and then when they go, whatever period you want, because immediately after that, some of the guests that they have come, they want to come and say prayers and all of that. They will do that. After that, we will remove everything. We remove the plywood, we remove the gravel, we remove the plywood, we remove the mud and we put proper gravel, compacted, do road work and all of those things from beginning. Not now, there is no way. House of Justice approved, and they told me that they want 2 months this temporary arrangement to stay, because for 2 months they don't want to see activities around the Shrine of Khanum as a matter of respect and all of that. We said okay. Then we started. We brought compactors, we compact, because gravel you can compact, but gravel on plywood. And we created straightforward, nice gardens, and all of us are working here. Even you can see here in this corner, all of us were there. And then we put plywoods for the grave. We pour the concrete around the grave, but the plywood inside of the grave, we cover that because the concrete is fresh, and the concrete you cannot, in that rain and all of those things, we cannot remove. The inside this is all covered with wood, and then complete level everything. Then our beautiful volunteers, girls and boys, that they were working for our department, garden at that time. Garden of Haifa was also under my, I was coordinator of the garden department of Haifa. So I asked all of this team, they come and we put plants in the pots. We put in, because later on we want to remove. This is a tremendous amount of money. All of these pots were needed for the terraces. I brought all of them from our own nursery, because we couldn't buy these things right at that time. And then so we put everything there, and then we decorated the grave with flowers. All around it is flowers, so you don't see anything. And then we have inside the grave is also all flowers. So then you put the casket, and then it will be covered. We don't touch later on. We never touch the grave. The grave is all done because the concrete around it was then solid and everything. All that we did was on the surface. So then later on, we blocked the entire area, and we did that shrine. This was one of my honors, one of my awards. Another award that I had, my last one, and I will finish. This is great. When I was there, I thought that I have had honor, and that somehow I have touched the soil of the grave of all of the Baha'u'llah, of the Bab, of Abdul Baha, and of Greatest Holy Leaf, of Nawab Khanum, purest branch. I have had something around that areas. I have had that blessing. But I did not have in the Shrine of Beloved Guardian in London, was right at that time, after passing of Amatul Baha Ruhi Khanum, we were told that the eagle of the Shrine of Beloved Guardian was stolen one night. The eagle was stolen. And the sphere below the eagle also was shaken, because when they wanted to remove that eagle, and it was they were suspicious that they want to even steal the sphere. So I asked immediately, when I got involved. First, I waited. We were there for almost 6 months. Nothing happened, and they were not going on. And the commemoration of passing of Beloved Guardian was reaching. So I wrote to the House of Justice, and I shared some ideas that I introduced some people that they could help with reproduction of the eagle and all of that. And I said that if Amatul Baha Ruhi Khanum was alive, probably he would have insisted that we finish this by that time, and probably you want to do the same thing. And the House of Justice immediately, they responded that yes, this is very important, but this is, instead of giving these suggestions, you do it yourself, go and work. And then this is what I got involved. I, first of all, asked that they remove the sphere to keep it safe. And then I found a wonderful Baha'i, Bozatti, Gigi Bozatti. He was a wonderful Baha'i of Italy, and he was responsible for restoration of the monumental statues and everything in Vatican. Very wonderful artist. So with the help of dear Mr. Sohrab Yousefian that was in Italy, I requested his assistance and support. And we talked to Mr. Bozatti, and I made a duplicate from this. You can see this small eagle here, a duplicate from the eagle that beloved guardian kept it on his desk, and it is now on archive. So I got the permission. We took that eagle, we borrowed that eagle from archive. We carried that, we didn't put it anywhere. We carried that to a bronze shop in Israel to duplicate it. They duplicate that, and we return the original back to archive. We kept this one, and then we sent that to Italy, and he copied from that one, made it 2.5 times the size of, we measured exactly with the help of computer, the exact size of the original eagle, and it was duplicated, and then it was built, and then 3 days before inauguration of passing of beloved guardian, I went to London and we installed it on the pedestal, and it was completed, and now it's beautifully there. And just for the sake that in case it will be again stolen, because this is in a cemetery, and you know, people, they think that this is gold. It is not gold. It's just simple bronze, and it has gold gilding. It's gilded with paper size of gold, and it's now complete and it's there. I asked one of my wonderful friends, Mr. Taraz Tuski in California, Los Angeles, Orange County, to duplicate it with the help of a computerized machine that you put the small statue, and then it becomes. So this one is an exact duplicate of that, because the other one was done by eyes, same as the first one. But this one is exact same shape, and this is kept in the archive in Haifa. In case anytime they need to duplicate, all they need is to give this which is wooden, to a factory, and they can cast another one, and it's there. And this was my real honor that I was able to do this work. I was responsible for the management, and I was member of a 3-board committee for the management of the 100 years anniversary of the ascension of Baha'u'llah. That was a magnificent historical event. And I was asked to design the illumination of the shrine of Baha'u'llah for that one night. And that was a magnificent thing that I'm so honored that we did it. And we created, we had to create 3,000 candles, glasses of light, which to put all around the path of circumambulation, 3,000. And we used the tear of the candles that all of these years had been burned on the shrine of the Bab. They have kept, as per instruction of the House of Justice, they have kept those tears, because they didn't want, they wanted to dispose them in a very respectful way. So I requested permission. We used the tears, all of that, the tears from the shrine of the Bab, to put these glasses, special glasses. And I made a research about how to make a candle because we had to have a candle that will last about 11 hours. That was special. You have to know so many things about candle. It's unbelievable. The thickness of the height of the glass, because the wind and all of that, it will destroy it. And the life of the candle has direct relation with the amount of the wax and the wick and all of those things, which we did all of that. And then for almost 6 months, 20, 30 volunteers, youth that are serving in Haifa would come and help us, and we would, during the weekends, and we would cast these glasses that was used on that night. And we did tremendous dream-like illumination of the shrine of the trees, the shrine of Baha'u'llah in that one. And it was one of the most historical nights that I have ever heard or remember myself. It was so majestic, that event. Thank you so much. My stories have come to an end. I hope that from all of these stories, I have conveyed one thing. I have conveyed that how, I've spoken almost 18 hours, and I gave you one after another really miracles of how Baha'u'llah supports those that they really try to work hard for him. And I have come to a point that, everything that we did, all of that was solved with Baha'u'llah, with the power of his name. He says that mention my name and go forward. Be strong. Mention my name. We are all scared from this. We think that, if we say this, what will happen is when we used it and we went forward with that power, everything, all the doors, all of the brass gates will open. Just because all of those things that I told you, all of those stories that I told you, we did nothing. He told us what to do. We went forward and we did it. But one thing I have learned, and that is that we cannot sit. It's total mistake to say that, don't worry, Baha'u'llah himself will do everything. No, Baha'u'llah is not going to do anything himself. Baha'u'llah wants us to suffer, to work hard, to show our love, to show our zeal, to show our desire to serve him. At that time, he says, all of the conquerors on high are waiting on line to come and help you. But if we don't do anything, he will do nothing. And he has said that. We have quotation from beloved guardian. Clearly he says that the undoubted victory of the faith, guaranteed victory of the faith, is only and only conditional. You take it, what you understand from that. He says 100% guaranteed, but only and only conditional. That how much, what percentage of our action is exactly reflection from the teachings of Baha'u'llah. And unless we move, and I think if the cause of God sometimes goes slow, it's only our fault. And it will not go fast unless we do something ourselves. And all of these stories that I told you, take my aim, understand my aim and my wish that only we did this, only we succeeded because we worked hard. We worked hard, and then Baha'u'llah helped us. Everything that we did, all the doors opened, and and throughout the history of the faith, this has been the case, and this has been the case. And I hope that all of these 18 hours stories give you that proof of that thing, that anything. And Baha'u'llah says, beloved guardian says that everything in Arabic, I know the tablet. He says, قوموا وقولوا موتوا بغيظكم. He says, stand up and tell to the enemies of the faith that die from your wrath. Because everything that Baha'u'llah has promised, everything, success of our cause, message of Baha'u'llah will succeed in every corner of land. This is from the beloved Guardian. I wish I knew that I'm going to say about it, and I would have brought your quotation. It's so beautiful when he says that, be sure and tell to the people with great pride that everything that Baha'u'llah has said is going to happen and will happen, and there is no doubt about it. Thank you so much. Wish you a very good, healthy, no coronavirus